Welcome back to Mirror of Fate. Second floor, more shit.
Oh, hey, the crank puzzle's back.
Huh.
But oh no, we're being ambushed by zombies. These are, by the way, they're actually the headless burrowers from the first game, but they've been renamed zombies. Yeah, they actually use the same model as the headless burrowers from, I think it was chapter 10 or 9 in the first game.
That's kind of cool, actually, that they could just straight up reuse those models.
Anyway, we had to use Mom's raincoat to protect ourselves during that puzzle.
Mom is really getting some action. Oh God, I just said that.
Go to your room, young man.
I completely forgot about these. Yeah, there's a lot of minecart set pieces. This one starts out pretty straightforward. Then they get more complicated later.
I'm guessing none of them are going to be on the level of like a good Donkey Kong Country minecart, right?
No. They're going to get complicated in that Donkey Kong Country way, but they're not going to be good.
Oh.
Oh boy, a new move. I can't wait not to use it and just spam Y, which is the best way I found to deal with most enemies in this game. Also, the stomp is back. If you remember that, just the dashing straight down to the ground. But it's even more useless because they changed the input for it for holding left trigger and pressing down on the stick, which is even more useless than it was before, where you had to hold L and press A. So they somehow found a way to make it even more unintuitive, which is impressive.
Did we just get a vial of holy water?
No, oil flask.
Close enough?
Have oil flasks ever been in a Castlevania game before?
Nope.
No, but that might as well be the holy water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a similarly power. It's an AOE attack, so I guess it works in a similar way.
Yeah, it's kind of like Richter's holy water, where it kind of affects its heart like a spread area rather than Simon or Trevor's, where it's just like a burning fire in one specific location.
Yeah, I can't wait for the item crash Pyro Storm.
Oh no.
Oh, please don't tell me there's crashes in this.
Yeah, these are skeleton warriors. They return from the first game, but they're nowhere near as threatening.
I'm not gonna lie, though the model for the hearts is very ornate for what they actually are.
For some reason, it reminds me of the Twilight Princess heart containers.
Yeah, I was thinking like a Zelda heart container too, but no, it's just ammo pickups, like traditional Castlevania.
And yes, it is worth repeating that enemy type was called a skeleton warrior.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm guessing this is our friend, the floating masky Digimon looking dude.
Yep.
Oh, they were very direct about that.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Well, I'll see you in a couple of maps, I guess. Now, this is a similar setup to the oh no, wait, no, sorry, I was thinking of a different lever later on. This is a more standard water puzzle, but there will be a lever later on in the game which looks similar to the trap from before, where you had to use the raincoat. But I'll get to that later. Right now, this is just a simple, raise the water level puzzle.
Introduction to concepts.
This is just an excuse for me to LP hydrophobia again. Although I do admit all this actually does lead up to a pretty interesting set piece.
The weird thing about this is the parts where there's not combat almost seem to be better than the parts where there are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, like, honestly, this is a pretty interesting setup for a series of puzzles. And yeah, that the combat is just kind of rough.
Yeah, the combat gets more complex, but I cannot honestly say that it gets interesting. There's also a lot of scrolls where where people either lament their incoming death, or they die, or they write it as they are dying, or about to, or just about to die. Which was a writing trope that didn't really happen in the first game. There were scrolls of Brotherhood members awaiting death, but not necessarily like, oh, what's that behind me? Ah! There's a lot of that in Mirror of Fate. Simon doesn't know the concept of fun. He didn't. He refused to have fun on that zip line.
I'll nary smile while I whiz through the air, boy.
This is my fun face.
Can I go again? Oh yes, it's a flea man.
Yeah, it's the Chupacabra was a recurring enemy in the first game who would randomly steal all of your items and relics, and you'd have to find him and chase him back. And basically it was a whole thing. It was like a running gag in the first game.
I'm impressed they found a way to make Fleaman even more annoying. Wow.
Yeah, he's back in Lords of Shadow 2, but he's nowhere near as annoying, and is actually an interesting character. Yeah, hunchbacks are terrible to fight. I don't like them at all. And there's actually, much later in the game, there's a variant of the hunchbacks that's even worse.
So this is what it's like to fight a down B Belmont spammer.
Yep. Oh no! Accidental cannibal! Ooh! Ugh, such garbage. I hate the scroll so much.
It's almost like they're trying too hard to be shocking about this shit.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. What did that tip have to do with the theater?
It didn't. The tips are randomly generated.
Okay.
So this is foreshadowing to something that will happen in Lords of Shadow 2. It doesn't have much relevance now, but it will in the next game. These are puppets.
I was about to ask about if we're gonna see the Puppet Master from Dawn of Sorrow, but
No, this is not. Although maybe this new character could be influenced by the Puppet Master of Dawn of Sorrow. I don't know the character well enough to say.
Puppet Master's just a generic boss.
Does he ride a unicycle?
No.
Is he a fat guy in a unicycle? Because that's the character that comes up later.
No, the Puppet Master is literally the worst.
Who's that? Probably nobody. And now we have variants on the puppets. Even more annoying, guys. Although I do like that the finishers against the puppets are basically just variants on, ripping off their arms and generally using their blades to cut the strings. I like that there's at least, that variety in the animation.
They had a lot of fun with the finishing animations, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Wait! Who was it that helped me escape? Do you know him? Damn it! I'm tired of your silence! Show him to me! Here! Now! Stupid creature! All right. At least tell me where I must go.
This would look fine on 3DS.
Oh, yeah.
The cell shading was probably meant to, make it easier to tell what is what. Because, 240p screen, kind of muddy. But that just kind of falls apart in an actual HD resolution if you don't accommodate for things like that.
And the weird thing is that apparently this began life as an HD console game for PS3 and 360 before switching to 3DS mid-development. And I guess they didn't save the HD textures when they did the HD re-release, so I guess they just had to upscale the higher res version of the 3DS textures.
Huh.
Wow.
That seems like a very strange move, to go from HD consoles down to handheld.
Yeah, so it was already downported to 3DS and then had to be upported back to PC, 360, and PS3. Really weird.
I mean, maybe they thought a 2D Castlevania would sell better there. Whoops.
Womp womp. I mean, it does kind of remind me of like the PC version of Resident Evil Revelations, for example, where instead of using like HD versions of the old textures, they just took the textures they had for the FMVs and used those as the baseline textures for the HD version.
Which worked quite well.
Yeah, it did. That's a great port. It was less a port and more of a full-on remake when I think of it.
Doesn't that game run on like Capcom's MT Framework engine?
I don't know, but safe to say it might.
Because if it does, then that's their MT Framework engine is fucking magic. Like it runs on Dreams and Pixie Dust and makes porting to basically everything super easy.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was.
Yeah, while we're talking about like assets and stuff like that, I should point out that while this game does recycle a lot when it comes to character models, Oscar Araujo, the composer, wrote a fairly decent amount of original music for Mirror of Fate. I'd say about half of at least half of the music for Mirror of Fate is brand new. There are some recycled themes you can hear here and there, but there is a lot of original stuff, mostly ambient stuff throughout the castle. Also, those books are terrible. They will randomly either buff enemies or debuff you. The worst ones are the ones that slowly drain your health until you destroy them.
Oh, good, another one of him.
I hunted your grandfather and I will hunt you.
I just noticed that there's a level, you can see Simon's level in the top left corner.
It basically
like,
does nothing. It's entirely streamlined.
Yeah, no, I get that it's streamlined, it doesn't do a whole lot, but I cannot read that little level 7 unless I'm really squinting.
Yeah, like I would imagine that at least some of the HUD was initially stuff that was meant to be on the top screen, whereas the gameplay would be on the bottom.
Shouldn't that be the other way around?
Actually, yeah, you're right.
He just follows you.
Simon's just had enough of this guy's bullshit.
See you later, Mike.
I think Mike is a suitable name for the Shade's name. That's not Schneider, but we'll just call him Mike.
Oh.
I think he looks like a Mike.
Zobek, my master, desires this weapon. Your father was not worthy of carrying it, and neither are you!
So this is another unique necromancer, similar to the one who summoned the Dracolich towards the end of Lords of Shadow 1. Adrian Schiller is back, and glorious as ever in his hamminess. Yeah, this one seems to think that Zobek is still around.
Is he supposed to be Death?
No, this is Zobek is Death. He's actually Zobek is like a combination of Death and Shaft. Although in terms of function, he is basically Death. This is a necromancer. He is a servant of Death.
I'm just talking gameplay wise, because that sickle throw was something right out of Death's playbook.
Yeah, I mean gameplay wise, he's very similar to Death. Yeah.
Hide behind a woman. You are as cowardly as your father was. Let's see how you fight without your little friend.
It's okay. I can get out on my own, stretch my legs.
I could pay my own tuition. So, I should also point out that the combat cross that we temporarily had before the Necromancer stole it from us, that is not the same combat cross that was destroyed at the end of the DLC in the first game. This is a duplicate somehow. Apparently, Gandalfi made a backup.
Huh.
I don't know.
And then just kept it off-site? What are we...
But yeah, I double-checked the plot synopsis on the Castlevania wiki. It is in fact a replica of the combat cross, and is not the original.
And the first time Simon tries to do anything with it, it turns out to be plastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
What-
this is
what-
this is very similar to when we were fighting Satan, and you had to dodge those rings. Remember that?
Yes. Only on a 2D plane and with little openings in his orb so that he's not completely impenetrable.
Yeah. Yeah, I also like this fight with the Necromancer. Though the boss, I will say this, the boss fights are actually quite good. I could think of one.
Oh, yeah.
I could think of one or two boss fights I genuinely don't like, and the rest are fairly okay. It's just the in-between fights, the in-between gameplay, especially the combat, that just really sours the game for me. To the point that I never want to play it again.
This shit right here, not okay.
Sorry.
Which is kind of appropriate for him.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, I think it would have been kind of interesting if he harnessed the power of Sypha when he stole her from you, rather
Yeah,
than just
that would have been
playing keep me
interesting.
away.
That would have been far too interesting for this game, though.
We did not think this boss fight through completely.
Yeah, also, this is probably the weirdest choice in the game, is that you just randomly get the power of the Dark Gauntlet. Which,
What?
in the first, Chaos, you haven't seen the LP yet, but in the first game, the Dark Gauntlet is an exceptionally evil item that Zobek basically uses to manipulate Gabriel into doing basically the entire plot. And then in this game, they just give you the powers of the Dark Gauntlet because they were useful in combat, and it's just part of the combat loop with no story explanation.
Okay.
It's just, yeah, they were useful, so here you go. Here's the moves.
Beginning to see why this was not received well.
Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason to like half of the combat choices in this game. It's just... I mean, on the plus side, Earthquake Punch is actually useful now, so that's good, I guess. Oh boy, another scroll. Can't wait to see what it says.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that was actually relatively mild compared to the rest of them.
Some guy found a really cool book, and I wish I had the time to read it.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. All right, so this is the fast travel section.
We're going into the Happy Mask shop?
Yeah, well, it's all theatrical because you're all in the theater. So imagine you have a fast travel system, but it doesn't tell you where you're going, so you only know where it takes you by trial and error.
Wait. Oh.
Isn't that everything you would ever possibly want in a fast travel system? Just blind luck and guessing?
Kind of the way that Symphony worked, but they all went in a sequence, and you had to unlock the rooms to use them.
Yeah, this is more like the little peeks into the other kingdoms in Super Mario Odyssey that you could sometimes find. Like, oh, here's a portrait that takes me to the Lake Kingdom early. Okay, I can at least go look.
But we already were in the inner cells like last time in video 1, and I realized that these areas are so forgettable that you already forgot we were there, which says a lot about this game's level design. But it's still just I'm not a fan of the way that they did fast travel. I didn't even use it. I just preferred to go around the long way.
Like I see what they were doing, kinda, but also that doesn't really work if you're gonna have fast travel for an exploratory game. That just makes traveling a pain in the ass.
I see what they were doing, but it doesn't really work. Might as well be the tagline for Mirror of Fate.
Yeah. If you weren't doing a mega thread, I'd say make that the title.
I'll make that the title for like the OP inside of the mega thread. That'll be the OP for the Mirror of Fate post.
Excellent.
Oh boy, are you ready for an auto-scrolling platforming challenge?
What?
What just hit you?
I know what hit me there. And this goes on for like 2.5 minutes.
What?
And there's actually a story reason for why it takes so long, and the response is an even dumber puzzle that comes up later.
I don't understand why any of this exists.
Great, now I have another possible name for the OP. I have to choose. Oh my god, this is still going. I forgot how long this is. And then, if my memory is correct, it does part of it in reverse.
None of these bars are changing position, are they?
It's going in a circle.
So, yeah, I know.
They changed from phase A to phase B, but I don't think they've changed mid-phase.
That just begs the question of why drag it on so long?
Oh, yep, now it's going in reverse. This is peak video game design.
You could have done this in like a 20-second cutscene.
This is it. They made Knack 3. This is it. I must have blocked it out because I just forgot how awful this part is. It just keeps going.
Please don't flip around again. Just
The orchestral circus loop is not helping.
Don't come any closer.
You helped me once before, and now you do so again. Why? Who are you?
That isn't important right now. That weapon you are carrying, how did you come upon it?
There is a presence in the castle that guides me. It took me to it. It belonged to my father. I will use it to avenge his death, and that of my mother.
How did your mother die?
My father came to this castle many years ago when I was but a child. He came to destroy the evil that lives here. He never returned. He must have greatly angered the Dark Lord, for soon after, Dracula attacked the Brotherhood's stronghold with his legions. None survived. My mother was killed trying to keep me safe.
I see. So now you plan to face the Prince of Darkness alone. Your father was one of the greatest Brotherhood warriors that ever lived, yet he could not defeat Dracula. What makes you think that you can?
Did you know my father? Answer me. Did you know my father?
This I promise. You shall not stand alone against him.
That's agonizing.
I know, right? So, this is 9 videos. I have split it up so it's 3 videos per act. Next video is going to be the end of Act 1, and we will find out who Alucard is. Spoilers, it's Alucard.
Oh, thank God.
Surprise, surprise.
There may or may not be more revelations about Alucard. My theory is that they made it really obvious so that another twist coming up is less obvious.
Yeah, just based on the nature of the character Alucard, I already have a guess as to who it is in this timeline.
Well, we'll see.